You can see my lettuce is doing nicely. I have the row covers off. I'll probably keep them off for the next few days at least. It's supposed to stay pretty warm at night. And you can see it's very wet right at the moment. It rained quite a bit today. And these are getting quite sizable. Everything looks good with these. I don't see any bug damage or anything like that. So, walk down here though, where my cabbage is planted. Now, of course, I've had this under covers the same amount of time, so no beetles or anything like that can get to it. But notice some of my cabbage have little holes munched out of them, and that is because of slugs. When it stays moist outside, of course any mulch or landscape fabric you use is going to help keep the moisture. You see there's some more damage there too. Yeah, moist conditions bring the slugs out in the morning and the evening. You really won't see them during the day too much. You can see it's getting both varieties munched too. So, there's a variety of ways you can handle slug problems. The way I'm going to use it is this product called Sluggo. And it's what a lot of farmers around my area use. You can see it's organic certified. And it's pretty much just little pellets of iron phosphate. I'll show you what it looks like here. You can see inside there, it's looks like little fish food pellets. But it doesn't take much. It says you only need about 1 teaspoon spread out per square yard. No piles of it. And you're supposed to spread it out when it's moist conditions. So probably just a little bit of shake on all sides of the plants. And of course the slugs are going to be coming up mostly in the hole that you've made. So make sure you get some down in your holes cut in the fabric if you're using fabric. Some other ways you can control slugs too that I've tried before. If you get some copper strip and make like some like copper ribbon that's on an adhesive backing on a roll that you can just kind of unroll, then staple down, or use those larger garden staples to put it down. And I've used that, but it's a bit pricey and it doesn't last. You're gonna get tore up because it's pretty thin. And also too, you can use even really copper pennies around the garden plants will kill off a slug. And of course the slug though has to step on the copper or cross a copper barrier for it to be effective and kill it. And so if you're having something like that, ideally you'd want like copper ribbon around the perimeter. But still, the problem with that is though you're going to have slugs in your mulch underneath your fabric that are never going to get to that copper and still crawl up your plant and munch it. So I think the Sluggo is a really good solution. I think it's the only organic slug control solution that I know of. But yeah, that'll protect it. It says for 2 weeks, and you have to reapply it. And I imagine too, if it rains really hard and it all washes away, you got to reapply it as well. But hopefully that'll keep the slugs out. It's like last year, I didn't plant my lettuce out till late, and only got a few slugs up in the lettuce. I didn't do any cabbage last year, so this is the first year experiencing slug problems eating those. But yeah, I'm sure this Sluggo will knock them out. I'm out here checking on my black morel beds that I've made last fall. It's April the 11th in Ohio. I don't see any action from these yet. I have seen on Facebook some people in Wayne County, Ohio, which is a little east and south, probably warmer temperatures. I've already had them pop up. Kind of small sizes, what I've seen, but maybe that's just because, you know, they're coming out early. But yeah, no action. Everything is pretty wet. I mean, if I stand still, I can actually hear the snap, crackle, and pop of the water draining out of the yard all the way down to a creek that way. You see, I'm starting to get some ground cover too on this. It makes me wonder if one of the signs when they're ready to come up is you got enough ground cover. You can see a lot of weeds just springing up. One of the dudes I've gotten some information from, the Morel King, who I think his website's morelcultivation.com. He's been doing them indoors and outdoors, and from what I've seen of his indoor projects, yeah, it looks like there's a good bit of grass and other green weeds coming up with the mushrooms, which would make sense because the mushrooms would like some surrounding greenery to keep the humidity up and maybe soak up any extra standing water. I'm a bit worried this is going to be too wet out here. And you can see where a deer or something's walked through this bed. Yeah, of course I've done nothing to keep the animals out. I think on this bed too, because when I came out here the other day, the soil was actually cracking on top because it was dry, because that's the southern sky and the sun has a pretty good direct hit over here. So what I've already done is ordered up some 80% shade cloth, and that's really good for growing the mushrooms outside, cutting down on the sunlight, so you can put them really anywhere in your yard then. And I'll just put some 7-foot posts down the way and a length of shade cloth to cut the sun out, and it'll be about 6 feet high. And the last bed I have up here, I think if I have success with them, it's probably going to be this bed with the most success, just because it's in an area of the yard that drains a bit better. Well, you can still see, you know, it's as freshly wet as everything else. Still, you know, heavy clay dirt. I'm trying not to walk anywhere, you know, within like 3 or 4 feet around the bed. I don't want to accidentally tear up any mycelium growing underneath the ground or step on a little Morel primordia. But you can still see all the coal there. The rain's washed away most of the ash into the ground, so you would need a ton of ash to keep a layer of it. But, you know, hopefully that'll create some sort of difference that we can test. So I'm hoping about 1 more week I'm going to go out and do some wild morel hunting as well. They say that when the temperatures at night and the day are within about 10 degrees of each other, and of course, you know, it's been nice and wet, that's when about 3 days, 4 days of close temperatures between night and day in a row, and that's really what you need to get them started. It really signals to the mushroom that spring is here.